Now, it's a simple idea. Put a tax of 20 pence or more per litre on sugary soft drinks in the budget and raise £1 billion or more a year to spend on free fruit and healthy meals in schools. But perhaps unsurprisingly, the proposal from the food and farming charity Sustain hasn't gone down terribly well with the companies who make soft drinks. Our science editor Tom Clark joins us now in the studio. Tom.
Well, for a long time, doctors have been warning us about the risks of fatty foods in our diet, but now they're turning to sugar as the true evil in our diets, if you will. You might ask why. Sucrose is a perfectly naturally occurring molecule. When it's broken down in our bodies, it's split into two molecules, glucose on the left there and fructose. Both perfectly naturally occurring, to some degree essential for life. But fructose is metabolized by your liver, and if you eat it in too high quantities, argue the doctors, it's metabolized by the liver and can lead to some of the worst diseases of obesity, like diabetes. And don't forget, by some calculations, diabetes costs the NHS £1.5 million every hour. What's more, there's quite a lot of sugar in some of our sugariest softer drinks. Take your average 330ml can of fizzy pop. It's got about 35 grams of sugar in it. That's the same as 9 teaspoonfuls. So you can see why a charity like Sustain and their backers and anti-obesity campaigners would say, tax that. It's a good way of getting bad calories, sugar, out of the diet. But for their part, the food industry say, well, we've already gone to some lengths to reduce the amount of sugar in sugary drinks. They're also sugar-free and low-sugar versions of most of our favourite drinks. What's more, it's quite tricky for the Treasury to go about putting a levy on sugar. Remember the whole tax tangle over hot pasties and cold pasties. It's not easy to do. And then, perhaps the most important question, will the consumer actually go for it?
Tom Clark. Well, now, Kathy, up to you.
Thanks, John. Well, I'm joined now by Gavin Partington, who's Director General of the British Soft Drinks Association, and by Dr. Aseem Malhotra, a London cardiologist. Well, Aseem Malhotra, let me start with you. You're a cardiologist, as we've just heard. Do you think this tax would lead to fewer patients showing up in your consulting rooms with heart disease?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the scale of the obesity problem. We know that in the UK, 60% of adults are now overweight or obese. 1 in 3 children, by the time they leave primary school, are also overweight or obese, and this problem is an increase from the previous year. So we have a major public health crisis. It's costing the NHS, obesity is costing the NHS £5 billion per year into related illnesses. Now, specifically in terms of sugar, there is growing evidence that sugar is toxic, it's addictive, it drives appetite. Sugary drinks in particular have no nutritional value whatsoever. And as far as I'm concerned, absolutely, I think this is an excellent suggestion. It will reduce consumption of these drinks and also raise money for healthier foods, for example.
Gavin Partington, we tax booze, cigarettes. Why not sugary drinks too?
In the case of cigarettes, it's a black and white argument. They kill. Soft drinks don't. And the evidence does not support the argument that's been put forward today by Sustain. The truth of the matter is that soft drinks contribute just 2% of the calories in the average UK diet. So the notion of imposing a tax to target that one product seems grossly unfair, and it also doesn't reflect the direction of travel.
Well, you mentioned evidence there, though. Where's the evidence?
I think, first of all, well, the evidence is there are numerous studies now, even one published recently in the British Medical Journal showing sugar in particular, reducing sugar reduces weight.
But sugar is present in so many other products. That's surely the point, is it not?
But this is specifically about sugary drinks, and there is no nutritional value whatsoever in these products. The other thing I'd like to say is this 2% statistic is misleading. And clearly, the sugar industry and the Soft Drinks Association, they're only interested in protecting their profits. Yes, it may well be that sugary drinks contribute to 2% of consumption, but children in particular, we know that 1/3 of their sugar intake comes from sugary drinks.
Gavin Partington, the industry's in denial.
I mean, no, we're not in denial at all, and it's quite wrong to say that we're only interested in making profits. Of course businesses want to make profits, but no successful business prospers by either producing goods that are not desired by consumers or changing when they can see that consumers demand change. And the reality is that over the last 20 years, the proportion of low-calorie and no-calorie drinks has doubled from 30% of the market to 60%. That is the direction of travel, and we've now got major companies, 3 more last week in our sector, committing to calorie reduction measures as part of the government's public health
There are 2
responsibility
points.
The industry's
deal.
really making progress here, isn't it? And, you know, soft drinks consumption is falling, yet obesity is still increasing. How do you explain that?
I think that's a drop in the ocean. Again, it's a misleading statistic. The most heavily marketed products are the ones that are the most nutritionally poor, whether it's junk food or sugary drinks.
That's incorrect, I'm afraid.
And we know that these products themselves are quite toxic. So I disagree. I don't think that 61%, you know, that includes even bottled water, for example.
You're
So
challenging the facts
It's
there, just
factually incorrect because the leading brands are actually steering all their marketing spend into low-calorie products, and that is a response, frankly, to the growing consumer demand for those type of
But
products.
can you confirm that 61% figure that you say 61% of soft drinks contain no added sugar? Does that include bottled water?
Yes, it does. Of course it
Well,
does.
that's misleading, isn't it? I mean, bottled water
It's-
consumption has
it's
hugely
not-
gone up.
It's not misleading. It actually it refers to all soft drinks, and actually the bulk of that product is in the other sections of the soft drinks category.
But of course,
It's
people don't
not-
expect sugar in bottled
but
water. I
the
mean,
shift-
you're having a laugh with that figure, aren't you?
We're not having a laugh at all. The shift, excuse me, Kathy, the shift in 20 years from 30% of the market to 61% is highly significant. What's more, I have to say that the pattern in the last 10 years, with a 9% decline in consumption of sugar-added drinks and yet a 15% increase in the incidence of obesity, surely suggests there's no direct correlation here.
I think that, again, it's a misleading statistic. We know that up to a third of the calories, sugar calories that children consume comes from sugary drinks. And by that definition, if he agrees that 61% of the low-calorie products are healthy, by definition, the sugary drinks, he's not going to admit the sugary drinks themselves.
I'm sorry, we're out of time. Aseem Malhotra, Gavin Partington, thank you very much. John.
Don't forget, full weather forecasts follow with Liam Dutton. We're back tomorrow at 7. Until then, from Kathy and from me, that's Channel 4 News. Good evening.